Well, it's an opera. Also, again, working with restrictions, never having really made an opera, even though we've worked with music before. Um, it's a durational project in a way where it's 5 people singing continuously and doing something that's meant to be epic and Wagnerian with almost 4 hours. I think the performance is 3 hours long, but long, 3.5 hours long, and trying to be as ambitious as a large opera house would be, with hundreds of extras and technicians moving scenery. And it's just like with Die Kinder der Toten. It's a record, as is every project that we make, is a document of the time of while we were making it. We made it during the pandemic, almost completely, dealing with all the difficulties and restrictions of having people come. 2 of the performers coming from Europe to New York, rehearsing here, and then all of us going to Frankfurt to finish it there, finishing it in Frankfurt and not being able to premiere it, rehearsing only till the general rehearsal, and then putting it in storage, then waiting and hoping, scheduling different dates for Espoo or all the other places where we're are doing it. All the co-producers waiting and trying to find dates, and the situation made its way into the both the script and the performance. So it is a record of the times that we live in, and the world, how the world is really falling apart on us, and imagining what happens if we all the first world people, if we become the refugees in the end, and how we've destroyed this world, and what happens when it all comes to an end.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started thinking about this story, it was in part based on this, Donald Trump was trying to buy Greenland, and we were thinking about what the reasons for that would be, and also that maybe everyone will eventually be a climate refugee and will be going to places like Greenland. And then what's been kind of sad and strange is just how much as we've been making this, like the Western United States has been on fire. While we were premiering it this last month in Europe, there were 2 different major storms to hit New York, where people were really like underwater and died in some basement apartments because of the flooding. So it's like it's not as far-fetched as it seemed when it's strange and scary just how much of it is actually like playing out in real life.
There is a clear story, right?
Yeah.
But the story, again, I want to say is really the least important part. The story of anything that we make is the easiest thing to make. It's something that you can come up with in a couple of days. It's the rest of it that's always very much more important. As is probably with any kind of whether it's a novel or whether it's a film, or the story is really the least important part, is the execution, and so that's why it's really it's kind of funny that it's the thing that people want to know the most, or that they think that's what the project is about. It's not the story at all. When we make the work, the story is created in 2 days. The rest of it is created over a period of 2 years. that's where most of the energy goes in.
And for us, the live work with the audience has always been the center, at the center of what we do. So we're interested in the story and that it gets people into the theater, and then the time that we spend together and the way that the actors and the audience work on each other is the most important. And Burt Turrido is kind of the first live work that we've made for stage, and it's kind of ironic that just as the pandemic happened to make this all completely impossible, and people wanted video work and computer work and digital work, that all we wanted to do was get back in a closed space with live people and to do something as crazy as sing at them for 3.5 hours, which is maybe the most virulent thing that you can do. It was the most impossible, and yet for us, like that was what we craved more than anything during the pandemic, was to be with people in a room again. So that in and of itself is the most important thing to us.
When you don't have an expectation that you have to take naturalistic, and almost anything is then possible. You know, we were attracted to the form of opera because there is a permission to do anything, really. You know, the themes are always mythological. There's ghosts. There's supernatural elements. And it's also a way of formalizing the language and really waking it up. And also, it's difficult for performers who have very limited singing skills, and so the idea is always for us to make it as difficult as possible for the performers and create as many obstacles for them to overcome during the performance, and make it an athletic event. You know, yeah. So if we work with dancers, then we make them sing or act. If we work with singers, then we make them dance. And you know, so it's always looking for ways that we are incompetent at what we do, and then in the process learning how to do it, and so that we have to push ourselves to our beyond our limits, you know, and not really knowing if this is going to work, and it could be the worst thing that you have seen, or it could be the best thing you have seen, and we never know. You know, we are skilled at certain things, and we could make something that we know for sure would be successful, but that's not interesting to us. You know, it's more interesting for us to make something where we go into it with the possibility that it can be a colossal failure, because without giving yourself that possibility of colossal failure, you never allowing yourself to have a colossal success or colossal, you know, for the miracle to happen. Yeah. Then you just do a magic trick, you know. But we're always interested in the miracle, not just a magic trick.
Yeah, I mean, and we're really not interested in theater as like a space where you display your skills for an audience that can just sit back and watch. I mean, we're obviously, just the length alone, interested in an experience that's difficult for the performers and difficult for the audience, and it generally feels or should feel a little bit out of our control. You know, every night it takes everyone working on it to make this happen, you know, and we watch every performance, so it's got to stay exciting for me to watch. And one thing I've never enjoyed watching is like people pretend to be somebody else on stage. So when you give them something like singing for 3.5 hours when they're not necessarily trained singers, or dancing and singing at the same time, you know, you're watching them do something that's really genuinely difficult. And yeah, it stays exciting for me there are new things that they do every night that surprise me. There are ways in which they help each other on stage that are meaningful for me to watch, and I always feel like I have to lean forward in my chair, and hopefully the audience feels the same way.